kind of a little bit of a dark cloud hanging over this county, I think.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, and how was everybody's Christmas?
I went skiing.
I don't remember.
I went skiing. I had a good time.
Yeah, where'd you go?
Mountain Creek.
How was it? Was there any natural snow?
Not much. It's mostly man-made, but it didn't matter to me. You know, top to bottom, if you got a hill or two, I'm good. It was all right. Not a lot, but I mean, they had some. I went yesterday too. I was skiing in the rain. Doesn't matter. It's all good.
So you weren't at the American Dream Mall?
Oh heck no. Heck no.
One day we'll be talking about this, and you'll have broken down.
I might do. My nephew went, and he said he enjoyed it. He said it's kind of surreal to walk inside and feel exactly how cold it is and how it looks large on the inside, but the way he described it is really kind of small as far as ski resorts are concerned. I might break down and figure it during the summer and say, you know what, let's break out the skis and hit the slopes for 2 hours. But I can't possibly see going there during the winter. No, not at all.
Okay,
not when there's outdoors to ski in.
Yeah, make sure you report on that when you do.
Oh, I will.
So let's see. So here's what we've reported this week. You know, the retail scene continues to be very tenuous, and you know, I think we're all tracking it and trying to figure out what it's all going to mean in the end of the day. We know that Lord & Taylor is closing at the Palisades Center. That's going to leave 2 of the 3 anchors vacant. And I assume that we're going to see a tax appeal, which, you know, for Clarkstown is very bad news. But I think the other entity that we have to keep our eye on is Macy's. And here's why. The store itself is definitely in trouble. In terms of its profitability has been deteriorating. There's been a lack of growth. In 2019, they closed 8 stores. One of them at the shops at Nanuet, and the metrics there are just not good. And the store, not to get too much into the weeds, but they keep trying to reinvent the wheel and, be to the shopping public what smart retailers are doing, whether it's pop-ups or, that synchronicity between online and offline. I mean, retailers are really, really scrambling to be much more than a place where you come in and find merchandise. But Macy's just doesn't seem to be able to pick itself up. And they still have, more than 800 stores. And, I don't know that the one here at the Palisades Center will be on the list of the most vulnerable. But the company as a whole is in trouble. So I think that we need to keep an eye on that. And, they're saying that they're looking at closing stores where leases are expiring or where the foot traffic is faltering. And definitely at the Palisades Center, some of the intel that I have is that foot traffic is off significantly. So that's one thing that we're watching, and we put a story up yesterday about other closures, and actually not other closures from 2019. And when you look at the list all at one time, as opposed to, I've reported this and I've reported that, but when you look at the list all in one go, it's breathtaking to see how many stores have closed. And if you go down the list, you can see, and I'll quickly call them out, but you can see how many of these either have or are now shutting their locations here in the county. Everything from Payless Shoes, which closed all of its store, Gymboree gone, Dress Barn gone, Charlotte Russe gone, Family Dollar, Destination Maternity closing now, Chico's in trouble, that's at the shops of Nanuet. The Gap is closing 230 stores. Avenue, which is in the mall, 222 stores. even this one on the list is Walgreens. Closing 200 stores, GameStop, Forever 21, Sears, of course, we know about. AC Moore, we recently reported on. Even CVS, which was trying to build new stores here on 303, and yet they're closing 68 stores. Bed Bath & Beyond, which is going to leave an enormous hole in the mall. Pier 1 Imports closing 57 stores. Party City, 55 stores. Victoria's Secret, 53. You get the idea. It's when you look at it in toto, when you look at this whole list, and you think of how many of these retailers have a presence here, it's really gobstopping. It really is something bigger than one store here, one store there. So we'll have to see. But just to circle back to Macy's for a second, there's an important investors meeting that's going to be held in February, and we're going to track that because that's the meeting where they're going to, I think, talk about some of their next steps, at least, corporately. So that's, I don't know, what you guys, were out shopping during the holidays? Do you get a different impression?
I did a little shopping. I went to the mall and to other places, and, the day before and 2 days before Christmas, the crowds were pretty thick, not extraordinarily heavy. It wasn't like fights over Cabbage Patch Doll days or Tickle Me Elmo days kind of a thing, but there were pretty decent crowds that I saw. Bed Bath & Beyond was one of the stores I went and took advantage of some final closing sale type of things. It seemed okay. I agree with with the premise, and lots of retailers are doing is they have to become more than just buy a product. They do have to be a little bit more of an entertainment, a little more helpful. A place where you can go to get help and sizing things up, or finding the thing that you're looking for, or finding something else if you can't find the thing you're looking for. And I think some retailers are doing better jobs in that than others. Yeah,
my old colleague who writes for the New York Times, his name is Andy Newman. He not old colleague, my former colleague. He put up a story a couple of days ago where it was kind of a play-by-play at the Old Navy store on 18th Street in Manhattan. And it was an interesting piece because what's going on in that store is, they've turned it into an event. The people come in and there's all kinds of engagement. That there's the team is like there's all kinds of like motivation, and there's all kinds of energy and signage and throwing things out at the customers and calling things over a PA system, like quizzes, and then throwing out a prize. I don't know how you can sustain that as a retailer. Maybe that's just for weekends, maybe it's just a holiday gimmick. But for a retailer to have to be that many things to the customer, that is some burden, isn't it?
Casinos do it. They do that all the time now. They put you, as soon as you check in, your name could be called at a particular hour, and if you're there and you have 60 minutes, you win a prize. It's not just casino gambling that you can do in a casino anymore. You can do it on your cell phone, depending where you are. So right. They've got to do things like that just to get the bodies into the shop and maybe buy some things there.
Right. Well, that's the environment. That's and Macy's is I think it's just kind of like a sluggish old locomotive, where it can't seem to. They say that the analysts say that even Target has figured out just how to be design driven or hip or interactive, but that Macy's is just is sluggish. I think that it still rests on its Thanksgiving balloon laurels or something.
Well, I was just going to say that the day will come in the near future when that's not going to be the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade anymore, and it'll be the Amazon.com Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's you're probably right about that. Oh my God, Well, I guess they need a miracle on 34th Street and nationally.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, I'm going to go home and order more stuff from Amazon. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Well,
This is what I did over the holidays. Haha.
Yeah. Oh, it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
You know, they just make it too easy. You know, and the way that they'll take something back and then send something new, or if a package hasn't arrived, they don't argue with you. They send another. I mean, they've made it irresistible.
Yep. It's
So,
unbelievable.
It is.
All right, so listen, we got to go, but people can find all these articles and more in your publication, rocklandbusinessjournal.com, and just go to rcbizjournal.com, and it's all right there.
You got it.
All right, thanks a lot, Tina.